everybody.
Hello.
Oh, no, I started, so now I have to say all the things. I'm Jenny.
I'm Mike.
And this is And the Nominees Were, a podcast where we are watching every film ever nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
There you go. That's all.
I did it.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. This is the end of our second miniseries.
Yeah, good job, us.
Yeah, we've done it. We've watched 2 whole years.
Right? Way to not quit.
Yeah, we have not given up yet. We still have a long way to go.
Yep, we still have 88 years to go.
89.
Dang it.
Right now, because it was
right.
We started with the
right.
90th, and then there was the 91st afterwards.
I know.
But we did it. We did 2.
We did.
That seems like enough, right? Yeah. No. I'm canceling the podcast again.
Again?
Keep doing it.
We're always on the bubble.
Yeah. We're always on the verge of me just not being able to make the episode out on time. This episode we're talking about Wings, the first Academy Award for Best Picture, Outstanding Production. No, is it Outstanding Picture?
It's one or the
something
other.
like that.
They're like I keep bringing up. They're basically interchangeable on these websites I keep going to.
Mm-hmm. The movie was Wings, a 1927 movie. This first few years are going to be confusing because it's 27, 28, but most of these were 27. Should know.
Does that mean the next one is going to be mostly 28s, do you think?
I think, yeah, possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. The movie is Wings, 1927 film directed by William A. Wellman, starring Richard Arlen and Charles Buddy Rogers.
What a name.
Yeah, amazing name. I don't think Buddy was his real name, but, I don't know.
Maybe he was just everybody's buddy.
Yeah. I have a friend, a childhood friend named Buddy. His name is Joseph, but he had an older brother who couldn't pronounce Joseph, and so he just called him Buddy.
Hey.
And the name just stuck, and just everybody called him Buddy. Every single person in the entire school and teachers, everybody. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he's a lawyer now. Maybe his clients call him Buddy. I have no idea.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
That's a lawyer that you can trust. Mm-hmm. A lawyer who's your buddy.
Yeah, right? He's got a built-in TV ad. I hope. I don't think he's that kind of a lawyer. But if he wants to be, I think it would work out well for him.
Oh, you know who else is in this movie?
Yeah.
Clara Bow.
That's true. It's, starring... She gets top billing over all of these guys because
she's famous.
Yeah, she's
the It girl.
Yeah, she was in the movie It, and then that would just catapulted her to stardom. And basically, they had this movie ready to go, and then she became famous, and they sort of retrofitted it to star Clara Bow, and you can kind of tell that this movie didn't originally have a Clara Bow in it, because she basically has nothing to do.
Yeah, she just legitimately disappears halfway through the movie.
Not even halfway through. She disappears after the first 15 minutes of the movie. Then comes back in the middle of the movie for another 15 minutes, and then leaves,
disappears again. Yeah.
Anyway, this is an epic World War I flying drama. It's about these 2 American yo-yos. These just 2 everyday guys. I don't even know what the hell that means.
I just loved the phrase American yo-yos.
Yeah.
Anyway,
your average Joes, if you will. And they just, war begins, and they just decide to go off and fight in war, and they decide they want to become pilots, and so they do. Yeah. And then war keeps happening. And,
that's true. As I was watching this movie, I was like, I think I remember seeing the remake of this movie, Pearl Harbor. But no, it doesn't quite hold to it. But
I remember when it was remade as Stripes with Bill Murray and Harold Ramis.
Well, I mean, also no, because see, that's about some dudes who don't actually want to go to war.
That's true.
This is about a dude who just wants to fly a plane, and he doesn't much care how it happens, honestly. Yeah. And another dude whose motivations are genuinely unclear to me at all times.
Yeah, these 2 people...
Their names are Jack and David.
Jack and David. Jack, played by Buddy Rogers, is this sort of like doe-eyed, innocent, just gung-ho guy. He's like, I don't know, like Archie Andrews. He's like Archie and Jughead all rolled into one.
See... you're making him sound real charming. I'm gonna come right out with my hot take. He's a fucking idiot.
Well,
and
yes.
I hated him.
You know who else
movie.
is a fucking idiot? Is Archie Andrews.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Total imbecile.
You're not incorrect.
Yeah, but he's just this guy. He's a bit of a gearhead. He like rebuilt a car to make it go real fast.
Yep.
But he's just sort of this gung-ho guy. He's like, yeah, everything is nice all the time. And then David, he's sort of grew up across town.
It seems initially like he's going to be the Reggie to
yeah,
this kid's
he's
Archie.
sort of the rich kid who has everything because he's rich.
Yep.
And seems just very disaffected all the time.
It's
like
true.
He just doesn't really care much about anything.
Except he cares about his girl.
Yes, he's in love with this girl, and you know what? So is Jack.
Exactly.
But she doesn't really seem to give a shit about Jack at all.
No, she does not.
Yeah.
Although, we should also point out here that this girl is not Clara Bow.
Yeah, no.
This is a different girl altogether. And, but like right at the beginning of the movie, after Clara Bow is Jack's next door neighbor Mary.
Yeah, the girl next door.
Right, and she's
who,
like
they grew up together, so he basically doesn't see her as a sexual being.
Exactly. She's the Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this other girl like Sue or whatever is Veronica. This is all
just
Archie.
It's just Archie.
Archie
goes to war.
Oh my goodness.
Well, now I like it more.
Yeah. The movie would be much better if it was Archie Goes to War. But yeah.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah,
So,
Claire Bow is the girl next door who's just absolutely head over heels in love with Jack, even though he's a goddamn idiot.
He is a goddamn idiot. And she is charming.
Yes. Quite charming.
She plays like a tomboy, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, and like the first, 10 minutes of this movie...
She literally hops over a fence and throws herself in the dirt to talk to him while he works in the car.
And the beginning of this movie spends so much time showing that Jack doesn't think about this girl at all, basically.
Right. Yep.
That like, it successfully... I, at times... forgot that Clara Bow is absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
Right, yeah.
She does play this girl next door type quite well.
Yep, it's true, it works. Yeah, but I didn't expect it because I'd always heard of her, but I've never seen any of her movies.
Yeah.
And so I didn't expect that the first one I saw that she was playing the tomboy who doesn't get the guy, at least initially, she does not get her man.
Yeah, and I do think, I haven't seen it, but from all I've heard, she, there were a couple different, female archetypes back in the day, and she was really, not quite the girl next door, but she was kind of like an every girl, Okay. She wasn't like one of these, vamps that's, wrecked men, and I guess she was kind of a flapper type.
Right. Because I feel like without seeing... any of these movies, that's the impression that you get.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this famous silent film star, the It Girl.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that she's one of those heartbreakers, one of those women from the city,
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, but I don't think that was the case. I don't know though.
Nice.
We should watch It.
She was a nice girl.
Yeah.
And I liked her, and I wanted her to succeed. However, what I was going to say originally is that after she hops over a fence and throws herself in the dirt, to help him rebuild his car, he gets in his car and drives across town to steal David's girl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally picks her up out of the swing where they're swinging together and puts her in his roadster. Mm-hmm. Yep. I didn't want to say it, but he's a fuckboy.
Sure.
I think he is.
All right.
Not in the same way. It's a different flavor of fuckboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. So Sylvia is the other girl's name.
Okay, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Completely.
So, but she is clearly she and David are going out, and I don't know. She gets in his car once, and he's like, "Great, we're in love now. We are in love." And so he goes to see her before they go to war. And she's putting together a locket for David, and he just sees it and assumes it's for him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't correct him. She just lets him have it. And so then the entire rest of the movie is just he's like, oh, my secret is that, I'm in love with your girl and your girl loves me. and his best friends see, because they become like best friends.
Yeah.
His secret is that girl that you think loves you does not love you and has never loved you. She has always been in love with me, and she tells me so in letters literally all the time.
Yeah. We spent quite a couple minutes there talking about all these the women in these men's life, but they're basically not in the movie at all.
No,
and
they're
this
not.
movie is kind of gay.
It is quite gay.
Yeah.
I found that refreshing.
Yeah.
How gay this movie is.
When I was looking on Wikipedia just now when I was Googling it, the first suggestion after you type in Wings 1927 is Wings 1927 Kiss, because this is the first film to feature a same-sex kiss on screen.
Yep.
I don't think they kiss on the lips, but it's still...
No, I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure he kisses him on the lips.
Yeah.
But he's, spoilers, he's dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny. Like, when I saw that, I had to click it. I was like,
being pals. Or whatever.
I had to click on this because I was like, what kiss? And I was like, oh yeah, they like kissed on the mouth. That's crazy. That's wild.
As a side note, every time that I've been looking for GIFs for movies, that we've been watching, any time that I put in the year, one of the hits is that GIF. Of them kissing from Wings.
Oh yeah?
We have not. Yeah, even though I never put Wings in the search bar on Twitter, that GIF comes up every single time.
Well, fair enough. I'm glad people are paying this movie some attention.
Yeah.
So they, like 20 minutes in the movie, or even less, they go off to war. War is declared, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go fight, and then they just go off to train in the Air Force.
Yep.
And
which I want to talk about this. Do you want to not do a very specific plot breakdown? I mean, I know you don't, but like I want to talk about this specific scene that happens when they first go off to training.
Okay.
But do you want to come back to it later?
No, let's just go for it now. I guess there is this movie's 2.5 hours, and I guess there is enough plot. It's 2.5 hours, and there is a lot of plot in the movie, but I feel like the basic summary you could summarize this movie as being like two dudes go off to war and one of them dies, and that's it. That's the whole movie.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. But what is this scene at the beginning?
So when they first go to like flight training, they get there and it's the two of them and this other cadet.
Yeah, Schwimpf.
No. Cadet White is the name.
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah. Who
I wanted to talk about Schwimpf. I want to talk about this German guy.
Well, we can talk about Schwimpf
this comic
if you want.
This guy who just looks... I couldn't decide whether he looked more like Danny Kaye or Ralph Malph from Happy Days. I decided he was kind of both of them. Yeah, and he's this just German guy, and everyone's like, a German? Ugh, no. And he's like, nah, I love America. And he's always tearing off his shirt. And he's got his America tattoo on his arm.
Genuinely, until you said that, because you brought up this character before we started recording, and I was like, I don't remember who you're talking about. I do not remember this character. And then you said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, America tattoo.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. That's all I remember.
Yeah, he's not in the movie that much, but like he's the comic relief early on in this movie. Is he also the
one that gets drunk with them in the middle, or is that somebody else?
No, I think it's somebody else.
Just some rando.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. I love this guy. This whole for 15 minutes, I thought of it as it's the police academy section of the movie,
right,
where they're all going off into training, and I legitimately thought for half a second that it might be like a whole Police Academy Stripes thing where there's like a whole cast of weirdos,
right,
that are all in the army together. But not really. It's just these two dudes until they meet the third dude, Private White.
So they get to this little tent, and it's the two of them and this guy who's sleeping, and he turns around and he gets up, and he's fucking devastatingly handsome, and it's because he's fucking Gary Cooper. But, so, this is the thing. So they have this conversation where they talk about, like, luck. And this guy, they have their good luck totems, and like Jax is this locket that he stole from this girl, and David's is this tiny bear who Tiny Bear is the star of the movie, honestly, as you can imagine for me, that his mom gave him, and he's like, I don't have luck, when your time's up, that's it, and and I don't know, the sky can't, I don't remember the fuck he says, because none of the lines in this movie make any goddamn sense. They're all just the most purple they can possibly be at any given moment. But he's like, death comes for you whenever it wants to. I don't know, whatever he says. And then he immediately goes off into the sky and crashes and dies.
Yeah.
Immediately. But but I was very taken aback by this whole thing because I don't know anything about Gary Cooper. I've seen like one movie he's ever been in. And as soon as he like stood up into that frame, I was like, oh my God, that's a movie star. I was like, look at that movie star. Is he going to be in the rest of this movie? No, he dies immediately.
That's fair. I've never really been able to get a handle on Gary Cooper, the movie star. He's the big movie star from the 30s and 40s that I always just sort of forget exists.
Yeah.
I know who Clark Gable is. I've never even seen a Clark Gable movie, but I know exactly the kind of guy he plays in all these movies. Wait, I saw a Clark Gable movie once. But yeah, all these early guys. Gary Cooper, I think I've seen a Gary Cooper movie. I have no idea.
I didn't know that I had until I looked on Letterboxd to make sure that that was him playing that character. Because I didn't know. I had seen his name in the credits, but it's low down, and it makes sense because he's only in this one scene.
Yeah.
But I was like, maybe it's just coincidence that, somebody who got famous is in this movie as just the most attractive person in the movie who immediately dies. The other movie is Ball of Fire. That's the other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We watched that together in a movie theater.
Yep.
Completely forgot Gary Cooper was in it.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. So did I. But that's why I didn't know it until I looked this up on Letterboxd. But this was just fascinating to me. That, it felt like, I don't know, because it felt like they just had, they had something there and then they just threw it in the trash and continued on with the rest of the movie as planned.
Well, it's, it sticks with you.
I guess that's true.
They cast this super attractive. Well, I mean, I don't know why they didn't cast him as I don't know, David or something. Right. Because this guy, Richard Arlen, I've never seen a finer plank of wood star in a movie.
That's fair. I didn't think he was bad. I mean, for one thing, I liked his character infinitely more than the main character of the movie.
I mean, I didn't think he was a bad actor. I just thought he didn't act or move his face really at all. Yeah,
he often does not move his face.
His signature move is to look like a sort of off to the side of the camera, is sort of a blank, open face, where he just makes no effort to move his face.
I think
think thoughts at all.
I would say he furrows his brow slightly, and that's it. That's his one move that he has in this movie. He furrows his brow slightly, so he's having an emotion of some type. Are you just doing it right now? Because it's uncanny. Yeah, honestly.
I just tried as hard as possible to not think about anything at all. Yeah, and that's the perfect way to capture that Richard Arlen magic.
It's true. Yep. Oh, but God, Jack is such an idiot.
He is. He's a dumb idiot.
And he doesn't stop. Yeah. He's just aggressively about himself at all times. Yeah. It's the worst in the middle of the movie when they they go off. The two of them have some big mission and they succeed and it's great and they're commended.
And so they
go to Paris and
leave,
they get leave and they go to Paris to get just absolutely wasted. Yeah. And sleep with ladies.
Yeah, as you did. You're young. You never been outside of your tiny little town. What else are you gonna do but drink champagne and sleep with prostitutes?
Right. Exactly. And I have never wanted to strangle a fictional character like I did him in this scene, where he's just so drunk and just all he cares about is bubbles.
Yeah, he's
literally the bubbles.
He sees the bubbles pop out of the champagne, and he's like, "Ooh, I like bubbles," and then he just starts seeing bubbles everywhere and everything.
Just full on hallucinating pink elephants on parade style.
It's quite amusing for the first couple of minutes, and then it just continues to do this for like 15 minutes or so.
Exactly. Like while Mary is there, she's in the women's motor corps.
Yeah.
She drives medical supplies and stuff. And she finds out that, everybody's been called back to the front because they're going for the big push, and she's got to get these guys back from their leave because they're too drunk to know what's happening. And so she's trying to get him to go back so he doesn't get court-martialed, and he cannot be reasoned with even a little bit.
Yeah, and then eventually, like, she drags him to, I guess, his hotel room, try to get him to, like, sober up, and then she's, like, changing, and some, like, military people barge in, and they're like, oh, I see what's going on. We can't have that in the women's motor corps. You're gonna have to leave. And she's like, but I didn't do... fuck you guys.
Yeah, right. She can't even... She just knows that she has no way to argue. They're never gonna believe it because it's the dumbest fucking story.
Yeah.
Because, like, this is the thing, too. Is there's, it's like a weird side thing where, he won't talk to her when she shows up because, first of all, he doesn't recognize her.
Yeah, I don't think he knows who she is.
And so they don't even get to be like, yeah, look at me, I'm doing shit. I got a job in the army, I'm important. No, because he does not recognize that she's even there because he's too preoccupied with this prostitute. And so she goes to like a dressing room and cries, and a lady who works at the Folies Bergère like gives her a dancer's dress covered in sequins so that she can shimmy and make bubbles and get his attention. But so, and like, how are you going to explain that to the military commanders? Be like, yep, I had, my friend is so drunk, I had to dress as a dancer, and you know what? This sounds stupid even coming out of my mouth. I'll just go home.
Yeah. At multiple points in this 2.5 hour long movie, it sort of flirts with much more interesting stories, and then decides to discard them in favor of the tale of this complete idiot and his best friend, the talking tree. As they just sort of stumble their way through World War I.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, like Mary, because Jack Mary, because Jack left him with like his souped up car that he made, she gets into cars, and then she joins the women's motor corps, and she's
I feel like she was already into cars.
She might have been. And then like you see her driving this big truck, and she's just being in war and being awesome,
right?
And it is amazing, and you just want to watch a 2.5 hour movie about a woman in World War I, like having a job,
just driving a medical truck,
and then maybe she makes these two boys fall in love with her or something, some sort of conflict there.
I was gonna say that's the one thing, and I'm just gonna say that's the one advantage that Pearl Harbor has over this, is they brought the woman to the war that both of the men were in love with. Because in that, Kate Beckinsale is a nurse. She's an army nurse, so she's there for the both of them to fight over instead of just being at home. Basically non-existent.
Yeah. And there's even some, there's some good conflict stuff with Jack and David. They become fast friends, but when they first go to the academy, I think Jack doesn't like David because he thinks he's trying to steal his girl,
right?
Who is not his girl at all,
right?
She's David's girl.
Yep.
But the film dispenses with that within like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Instead, then he's just like, you know what? I like you. You've got moxie or whatever, and then we're gonna be best friends.
Yeah. Did we just become best friends? That's basically this movie.
Yeah. This and the story is kind of just, I don't know. One thing we did not talk about
is that there's a lot of dogfights.
We should talk about the flying sequences, which are still very stunning.
That's true.
In a way, this movie is really notable today for the fact that they filmed these dogfights in the air for real. They got up there in planes. they got the actors up in these planes above the clouds. When you see the shots of these guys in the cockpits, they were up there in planes.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the actors were actually in planes.
Yeah, it was like
sky.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like it's like how they did it in Dunkirk. They these planes are built with like two cockpits basically,
Right.
and you just depending on what angle you want, he's either sitting in the front one or the back one, and while someone else is driving the plane.
I could tell that all of the the actual fighting was happening.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me that the actors were up there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
assumed that they were on a rig.
I think once or twice for
jostling.
there's a
For,
shot of
close-ups and stuff.
there's like a real close up, so you can see it like his
somebody
face.
getting shot or
Yeah, like once or twice there's like a close up that's clearly like on the ground rear projection, but no, they're up there for most of it.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I do think though that these are quite spectacular to watch, but they're not quite spectacularly staged. I think because they wanted the realism of being up there so much.
Right.
And like William Wellman, he was actually a combat pilot in World War I, and so he knew what it was like, and he wanted it to be that way. But I think because that wanting to do it that way, that sets up a certain amount of limitations, especially for a movie in 1927, and I think it does hamper the storytelling a little bit. Like there's basically like 4 or 5 different types of shots of airplanes,
right.
and they just sort of mix them up, in whatever order for this scene.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's really impressive, but I'm not sure. Like, this sort of filmmaking techniques would be improved.
Right. If you're keeping track, it was during one of the dogfights that I fell asleep during this movie.
Knew it. No.
I woke up when it was over. I'm like, oh, good, we won.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Back to the plot.
Yeah. Like there even is.
Yeah, there wasn't, but I kept waiting for there to be one.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Yeah, basically the biggest plot stuff comes, I guess it's probably the last, 40, 45 minutes of the movie is like this big battle that they're called back from, leave to come fight in. They hear about this, big German push, and so they get everybody back, and there's some interesting stuff in the air, and then I think David is shot down.
Yep. Well, you have to mention that, they just fought before this because...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is when the girl stuff comes up.
Right. This is when it finally comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is like they never talk about it except for this one scene.
Yep.
And I think it's...
And Jack is like, I've been keeping this secret, but I'm in love with Sylvia and I think she loves me. And David, instead of like a normal person being like, yeah, about that, and like giving him this letter that he's carrying from Sylvia that's like, I don't know what the hell this guy's on about.
Yeah, I think he's decided he can never know about this this love.
Right.
And so
so instead...
Well, okay, so he somehow, I think Jack gives David like the picture to show. He like takes it out of the locket and shows it to him. And shows it to him. And then, on the back of the photo is an inscription to David. And so...
which means Jack, this idiot, has never taken this photo out and looked at it.
And so like Jack is like, hey, cool, let me have the picture back, the thing that I gave you. And David's like, no. No. Come on, just give it back. It's mine. I literally just gave it to you. And then he's like, and he just rips it up. And like, what are you doing? How is this better?
Yeah, I was like,
how is this better?
I even said that. I'm like, that's the craziest choice you could have made in that moment. Okay.
And so Jack's just looking at him like he's literally gone insane.
Right.
Like did you just have a psychotic break? Why are you tearing up my photograph?
Yep.
And
like, I just told you that this was my good luck charm, and you just ripped it up, and he gets real mad. And then they
have a fight. They don't do their normal before every flight they say like, all set, okay, which is like the least interesting exchange you could have.
That's true.
It's our signature thing where we just, say
Right.
normal things that every pilot should say.
Right,
to one another.
exactly. And also, because of this fight, David forgets Tiny Bear.
Yeah.
And,
his good luck
and it
charm.
ruins his life.
Yeah.
In that he gets shot down.
Yeah, he gets shot down. He's behind Emily and behind Emily lines.
That's the porno version.
How has nobody ever made a porno movie called Behind an Emily Lines?
Because it's too hard to say. That's why nobody's done it.
Nobody's done Emily Lines.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, and he's almost captured by Germans. They think they shoot him, but he sort of like falls backwards into the river and sort of plays dead a little bit.
Yeah, like swims away into the reeds like in the animated Robin Hood. Like...
Or the Prince of Egypt. No, not
Does that happen? Oh.
I don't know. There's, he's a baby
he's
in a
in
river.
the
He's in the reeds
reeds,
or
yeah,
whatever. I don't know. But yeah, and he's sort of, they all think that he's dead. They actually get word of it because the Germans say like, oh yeah, we shot this guy. We saw him die in the river.
Yeah,
we shot him.
the like head of the German air thing, whatever that they've been chasing, literally sends them like a letter saying, "Hey, we shot down this guy."
Yeah,
like personally, he sends them a letter. It's. I thought that was wild. I was like, way to rub it in, man.
Yeah, and so David. He's sort of like while this whole big fight is going on, there's big battle on the ground and in the air. David is stumbling around trying to find his way back, and he stumbles upon again. This is the single best part of the entire movie.
It's true.
He stumbles upon the German Air Force base and runs up, punches a mechanic in the face, and steals a goddamn plane.
Yep.
And they're all shooting. They're shooting at him, and he just
shoots stuff and takes off, and it's great.
This is amazing.
Yep. He finally achieves something. Yeah. Good for him.
Not enough people in movies steal planes.
I agree.
There should be more plane theft.
That's true. Because, how are you going to stop him?
Yeah.
Well, with other planes.
Yeah. But
they don't successfully do it.
In this thing, after the big aerial battle where, Jack... he sort of wins, saves the day, but then
Jack is wild with grief, though. We should mention during.
So he goes on a real tear. He's just shooting every single German plane he sees, and then guess what? He sees one last German plane really making a run for the American base, and so he guns him down. And there's a whole thing where. David is trying frantically to be like, no, it's me. I'm David. But there's absolutely no way that would work.
Yeah. He needed a white flag or something.
Yeah.
He didn't think that far.
So Jack shoots his best friend down.
Yep.
And he crash lands and he basically dies just a couple minutes later. And that's when they have the big tearful thing.
Yep.
Jack puts his hand in his head, and ruffles his hair, and kisses him on the mouth.
Yep.
And
just friends. They're just the best friends.
They're just best friends who like to kiss on the mouth.
Exactly.
Well, you're making it weird.
So David dies.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel for a while Jack is not made to feel bad enough about this because David absolves him. He's like, "No, man, you're doing your job."
Yeah, he's
no, you were shooting down the Germans.
Yeah, he's like, no, honestly, it was really actually pretty good. I was in a German plane and you were shooting at me. No, good way to go, man.
Yeah, way to go, right? I mean, and I was thinking this even before this happened. As soon as he stole this German plane, I was like, this is a terrible plan.
Mm-hmm.
This boy is bad at plans.
Yeah.
But you at least fly it a little bit and then maybe set it down. Maybe don't try to fly it into the American air zone. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so then they go. Jack goes home. They give him a parade. But he's sad.
And there is a quite wonderful scene where he's got to. He visits David's parents
exactly.
and gives him back the teddy bear.
Yeah, that
and we didn't
scene
mention
is nice.
At the beginning of the movie, as David apparently had this teddy bear when he was a real little kid, but didn't know that they had kept it, and he just it falls out of a box that his mom had, and I think she doesn't want to let it go, but he's like, no, I'll bring it back, and then it comes back, but not with him,
right. and she just the lady, the mom, just acts it so good, and I had feelings. I cried.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's like, oh, I wanted to hate you, but he's sad too, and like, I don't know, whatever. So it's nice. I did wonder in that moment if anybody told David's parents that Jack had literally shot him down out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured, because she says I wanted to hate you.
Well, but she could have said that even just because he came back.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Didn't. It's really weird. Yeah, he is like definitely treated as this like hero, I guess, because he did, he was like sort of single-handedly responsible for getting all those German planes out of the sky and that one thing. But also
he shot down those big balloons.
Yeah.
I think that was the mission that they were running when they got separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did, he got those balloons, but he did a shitty job keeping track of his wingman. He literally didn't know where he was after he was done shooting the balloons down.
Well, they didn't know what a wingman was back then. You know, they didn't do any of that Top Gun shit. Which, Top Gun is just this movie, but even gayer, I'm pretty sure.
I think that might be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember it that well.
No, me neither.
I know. I would like to see it as an adult with a taste for gay action movies.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the amount of times we have said gay?
Only a handful of times, I think. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, because I mean it in all positive ways.
Yeah,
but
you actively want movies to be gayer in general.
I honestly do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to admit that I didn't really pick up on the gayness of this movie upon first watch. It wasn't until like thinking about it I was like, oh yeah, it was pretty gay. Yeah. But that's me, I don't pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, so that's Wings. No,
yeah, I mean, I guess we basically talked about the whole movie.
Yeah.
This movie, it's a weird mix of very remarkable and very unremarkable.
Yeah. The one thing that we did forget, because the movie itself treats it almost like an afterthought, is Jack and Mary get together in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, who cares?
Right. Exactly. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, this movie, it's interesting. Like when we watched it, I was bored a little bit, but I enjoyed it. I don't think this is a bad movie.
No, I don't think so.
But it is at least half an hour too long.
Right.
And I do think that that there are a couple of more interesting stories hiding in this movie that they don't seem to be interested in.
Yeah.
They pick the two least interesting characters and try to actively make them less interesting as the movie goes on.
It's true.
But it's wonderful to look at. Those flying scenes are really interesting. I like Buddy Rogers. He's got a nice presence there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I couldn't say whether or not. I mean, I guess he was likable enough, but I hated the character so much that I genuinely couldn't tell you whether or not he was any good in it.
Apparently, he was really drunk in those scenes in Paris.
Really?
Yeah, because
drunk for realsies.
Yeah, he was 22 and had never drank any alcohol before, so they kept giving him real champagne
because they thought it was funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
that is the most aggressively irritating part of the entire movie. So, although
just like real drunk people, aggressively irritating.
Yeah. Although Clara Bow gets to wear a pretty dress in that part. So.
Yeah. And maybe that sequence does have maybe the single best. It's certainly the most, I think, iconic moment from this movie. Is there's a great tracking shot in this Parisian nightclub where it just it goes through all of these different tables with all of these characters. Just doing basically every single conceivable thing that you would do in a nightclub. There's two people basically making kissy faces at each other, and there's like one woman who like throws a
Throws
drink
a
in some
drink,
guy's
yep.
face, and it all is going directly to Jack just being as drunk as humanly possible
Yep.
at the end of it, and it's
Yeah,
very
that shot is cool though.
and I believe it's directly referenced probably in a number of things, but most recently I remember Star Wars: The Last Jedi. There is a shot in Canto Bight that's just going through all of these tables.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they're trying to find the high roller.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly when, but
Okay.
yeah. And then unfortunately that scene is 20 minutes long.
Right.
Possibly longer. I don't know.
Yep.
Everything in this
It's as
movie.
long as a dog fight.
Yeah.
And they're so long.
They are really long. Yeah, this movie, it should have been like 90 minutes, really.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours. It's
I feel
ridiculous.
like you could have gotten away with 2 hours.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, this is the thing with the dogfights, is they're really cool, but they feel interchangeable. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, there were only so many different shots that you could get.
Yeah, and I think there's only like, what, 2 dogfights, really? 2 main ones?
There's like 2 main ones. I think there's a third one. I think there are 3 of them, but I'm not 100% sure.
I kind of
about
combined at the end there's one battle and then like a
true.
second
then,
one with
right.
with Jack and David,
Yeah.
but they kind of feel the same,
that. That's true.
But yeah, I do think that William Wellman, he really, I think if this movie works at all, it's really because of the direction. Mm-hmm. There's some like, amazing things like that one tracking shot, and the fact that he, insisted they do all this stuff for real in the air. And I remember this great story that I heard in this TV documentary called Hollywood, which is all about just silent films. It's a great thing from the 70s. I think it was an interview with William Wellman, and he said that when he was staging the big battle scene, I think he was staging one of the ground scenes. It was like the most complicated day of shooting. They had like 8 cameras up, and that was a day that like an executive from Paramount was there. Mm-hmm. And while Wellman was like trying to get all this stuff set up, while they were actually shooting, this executive like said something to him, like interrupted him, and like something happened where like the explosions didn't go off at the right time, and like a couple of some men were like injured, not heavily, but stuff, and this guy just sort of ruined shit, and Wellman just like tore into him, just like yelled at him for like 5 minutes straight, not knowing that he was an executive at Paramount, and then he was told, and then he was like, oh shit, I guess I'm never working in Hollywood ever again. He just spent hours like pacing in his hotel room, wondering what the hell's going on. And then this guy like came to his hotel room and said, one of the reasons the executive came down was like they'd been shooting for like 6-8 months, like longer than any movie at the time. It cost like $2 million to make this movie, which was way too much at that point. Mm-hmm. But then this guy came in and he's like, you really handled yourself well today. Take as much time and as much money as you need. Clearly, you know what you're doing. Clearly, you can handle all this stuff, and we don't. We can't.
Right.
So
well, that's good.
nice.
That worked out.
But yeah, I guess let's talk about this movie as Best Picture winner. This is the movie that won Best Picture. We watched 6 movies. 3 of them were competing in a completely separate category. But because the Academy is like, no, this is the only category.
Right.
This is the Best Picture. This is now the Best Picture.
Yeah, this is
over
canonically
Sunrise.
the Best Picture.
And it's not. It's not the Best Picture.
No.
I think it's better than like some of these. It's better than The Racket.
It's better than The Racket.
It's better than Racket. It's better than Chang.
Yep, it's better than Chang.
I think that might be it.
It's well, do you want to?
Do you want to do?
We can
our
do the
rankings?
rankings. If
Yeah,
you
I
want,
guess let's.
We're kind of segueing into it, so.
Oh, did you have yours written down?
Yeah,
Okay.
I listed mine, so I got to pull it up.
Oh, that's right. I did that as well. Okay. I probably could have done this from memory, but I to make sure I get it right. So yeah, do you want to do your top 6
Sure.
for this year?
Yeah, we're just gonna do them straight. I feel like they're gonna be
just do 'em
they're gonna be
straight
quite similar.
Yeah.
So I remember I said, I didn't go back and change this, so I'm gonna have to stick with it.
Okay.
I remember saying that the real mystery was how on brand was I going to be, and the answer is very on brand. So my number 6 is Chang. It has bears in it.
Yeah.
But they also kill a lot of big cats. Disrespectful. Number 5 is The Racket. Because it's just not particularly interesting. It's not terrible. It's just not particularly interesting. Number 4 is Wings. This movie right now, because it's also not particularly interesting, and it's so long, so very long. But it has more interesting parts in it, and I had an emotional response to it that I did not have to The Racket. Number 3 is The Crowd.
Okay.
Which I respect. I respect The Crowd. The more time I spend not having to watch it.
Fair enough.
My number 2 is Sunrise.
No, I know.
Because I really did like it, though. I really enjoyed it. But ultimately in my head it is an art film, and I like that. But I like Seventh Heaven more. I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
I enjoyed it on a personal level. It was like I watched a real nice weepy, And even though it did not weep in Seventh Heaven, it did not have that moment in it. But it's speaks to my brand.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. My number 6 is Chang. It's barely a movie. It's interesting to watch, but it's not the kind of thing I want to watch all the time. My number 5 is The Racket. This one is a Hollywood movie, but that's about it. It's got a story, and the story is kind of fun, but very slight. My number 4 is Wings. It's an amazing production, and it just should have been better.
Right. Yeah.
My number 3 is Seventh Heaven.
Okay.
It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I can definitely understand, though, why you would like both of these other movies more, because they are both more artistic.
My number 2 is The Crowd, and number 1 is Sunrise.
Okay.
Sunrise, I just think it's just it's unparalleled. I think it's better than probably a majority of Best Picture winners.
And this is me again on my shit, being like, of course Sunrise is the best one out of all of them. Like, obviously, that I can't dispute that it is the best movie that is here, but it's just not my favorite one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what it's all about, is knowing what you like and what you don't like. You don't have to like a movie just because everybody says it's the best movie ever made. If you'd rather watch Seventh Heaven, that's great. Seventh Heaven is very good, by the way. If you were like, my number 1 is The Racket, I'll be like, all right, what's going on?
I've been like, I just love them.
Love that crime.
You love that crime.
Just love that guy's nose. Yeah.
Just love it when people do crime.
Yeah.
I love that kid from the Omaha Bee.
I do love it when people do crime.
You really do love it when people do crime in movies.
Crime's great. All crime in general. Every single.
We're gonna take that out of context. That'll be the pull quote. All crime is great, Mike Frollo.
Yeah, if I were a Latina representative from New York,
right? That would happen immediately.
Yep.
Somebody would be waiting to be like, he says crime is great.
Where's the most unflattering picture of Mike we can find?
Yep. Where he looks like he's about to do a murder.
Yeah. So we have now watched 2 Best Picture. We have watched 2 years of Best Picture. We watched the first one and the last one, but not really.
I just wanted to comment real quick before we move on, because we went in and did our lists. I do think I'm not surprised that this movie won Best Picture, because it's such a big production.
Yeah, it's such a
such an achievement.
I almost suspect. I feel like how in later years, especially in the 60s, with all those like bloated musicals that no one went to go see, there'd be like whisper campaigns all through Hollywood. And you're like, they spent like $10 million on that thing. It's pretty impressive.
Right.
And so it would get a nomination even though nobody likes this movie, I almost feel like it's one of those things where it's like, well, they did the whole big thing, this thing cost like $3 million,
They put actors in planes.
Yeah, they were up in the sky. It was wild. And I feel like it got that. It got the nomination and the win kind of on that.
Yeah,
alone,
I think
almost.
that, yeah.
Setting a precedent that would continue for the next 90 years. Very often, it is just the most spectacular movie. It's the most movie.
Right. I also do think, and I could be wrong, but my impression of the type of stories that people wanted to watch, in early movie time is that they wanted a very straightforward sort of maudlin kind of story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this does that. So
yeah,
when it bothers to remember, it has a plot.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Like we were talking about with the 2017 movies, kind of looking at them as a time capsule of the year. What do you think you see in these movies all together that tells you? One thing that I noticed is that so many of them are about World War One, like at least half of them.
I thought it was only 2 of them.
Wings,
Seventh Heaven.
Well, also we watched a couple other movies. We watched the Last Command, also about World War One.
No, that's about the Russian Revolution,
which happened at the same time.
Well, but it's not part of it. Oh, well, yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's all interconnected. Yeah,
they're like, well, we better be winning the war so that these revolutionaries don't.
That's true.
Pop up.
Yeah,
and I think it's very interesting because the war was like almost a decade behind us at that point, and. But it makes sense. It's like all of the young 20-somethings who went to war and came back very changed. Mm-hmm. They were finally like in their 30s and in a position to make movies, and they were kind of making movies about their experiences. Finally, I think.
This is that just reminded me of something. Just a little thing I wanted to interject about Wings that I thought was hilarious, which is how the last battle makes Jack's hair go gray.
Yeah,
like they're like, he went to war a boy and came back a man, and I was like, did he though?
Yeah.
And then they show him, and he's just got gray like all in the sides of his hair.
Yeah, and it's like the worst gray. Like you can see like the paint on his skin.
It looks terrible, and he didn't have it before, and it's just
it looks like a high schooler's Halloween costume of an old man.
Are you trying to sell me that this is an adult? Because I'm not buying it.
Yeah. But yeah, I do it does seem like quite a few of these movies are about the war experience, and even the ones that don't touch on it, like something like the Crowd, it's very explicitly not about the war, but it almost seems like it's not a metaphor for the war, but it's about a guy like changing. I don't know. Maybe it's not about a war at all.
It's actually, well, I guess
it's almost weird that he doesn't go to war,
right? That's what I was gonna say. They don't ever give any reason for that.
No, I don't think they even mention it at all.
I don't think it comes
they
up.
Try to pretend that it doesn't. Well, it's also like because that guy King Vidor, his last movie, The Big Parade, was a big World War I movie, and I think he just didn't want to do that again. He wanted to look at life from the other perspective. Yeah,
but I also can't remember. If the timeline would have lined up, in The Crowd for that character for Johnny Sims to have gone to war, if it would have been too young.
Maybe he was a little bit too young. I don't know. But I do think that's interesting. I also kind of looking at the kinds of movies that people went to go, or that the Academy valued. You were talking about like the audiences wanted these like sappy maudlin movies, and it does seem to be the case. It also, probably like the biggest movies of this year were probably like The Circus and Speedy and things like that. Audiences love the comedies, but the Academy, it's got to be very serious, So they're cherry picking the stories that are like the most
That's
emotional. You know,
And I did say that about the maudlin feels and stuff, but a couple of these movies are cynical. Like The Crowd is cynical,
Yeah.
and The Racket is cynical. They're not going for the feel good emotions.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they are in there, even though they did not stand a chance because of that. I think personally.
yeah. I'll say we watched a couple other movies from this year to get a little bit of a feel. It's hard to get a real sense of what things were like, but we watched Charlie Chaplin's The Circus. We watched The Jazz Singer, the big talkie, the first talkie, even though they barely talkie at all.
Right.
And we watched The Last Command, which was starred Emil Jannings and won him the best actor along with another movie. And how do you think those movies stack up against the ones that were nominated for these awards? I would say personally that I think all three of them are better than Chang and the Racket.
Even The Jazz Singer? Yeah,
Oh, actually,
no, it is.
Well, actually, you know what? No.
The Jazz Singer might not be better than The Racket,
Yeah.
but
It's less interesting than Chang.
that's true. I was like, as I was about to say, it's better than Chang. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
also less interesting than Chang.
Yeah. Aside from The Jazz Singer, I think The Last Command is great. I think that could have been slotted into unique and artistic production.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was well,
It felt that way a little bit.
it doesn't do as much stylistically though as
that's true. It's
those
not as like
movies do.
adventurous as The Crowd or Sunrise,
Yeah.
or even in its own separate way, Chang.
Right.
It's adventurous in a literal sense.
Yeah. It's thematically very interesting and artistic, I think. But I feel like those movies, the unique and artistic picture, have in common more directorial flourish.
Yeah. But I feel like it could have been slotted. Like if this were, the very next year where they would up it to 5, I think that all of those movies would have been nominated somehow, and they probably would have gotten rid of the I don't know how it worked. We're like, how did The Racket get nominated? I keep thinking about this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, it was produced by Howard Hughes. Maybe he just paid everybody a lot of money.
It's possible.
I don't know. It's not a bad movie. It's
No,
just that
we shit on it really hard,
Yeah.
but it's just not interesting.
and it's not as good as like the Last Man. I have heard, this is a rumor, but I hear it repeated a lot. Maybe I haven't found like a good source for this, but the scuttlebutt around Hollywood at the time was that Charlie Chaplin's The Circus, when the initial ballots came in, it got nominations for Best Actor, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Picture, all for Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, I heard
And
this.
the Academy was like, this is maybe a bad look for the very first one. We're trying to celebrate, studio movie making, and here's this one guy who does it all himself. And so he was removed and given an honorary Oscar,
Right.
just for making a heck of a movie.
We talk about this in the circus episode.
Yes, well, that is not a thing that is released to the public yet. So
I know,
was mentioning it.
but that's that content that you can pay us money for.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into that a little bit at the end of the episode. But yeah, so that's the rumor. Perhaps if that is the case, then that maybe that would have gotten in instead of The Racket.
I think that's possible. Yeah, I can see that easily.
Yeah. But yeah, that's 1927 and 1928. That's the first Oscars, I think, unless you have anything else to say about them in general.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we did this.
Yeah.
I think I found it very interesting, even though it got to be a bit much, towards the end. We watched we watched 9 silent movies, all in a row.
Yep.
And it was a bit much, but I do think that I feel like I learned a bit about movies of the time and the time of the time. I feel like I learned a little bit about old Hollywood and just what people were interested in in 1927. I feel like I wouldn't want to do this all the time, but since we have done exactly 2 years, how do you feel the movies of 2017 stack up against the movies of 1927?
I mean, they're better.
Some of them are.
Some of them are. No, that's true. Yeah, I'm not. I'm never gonna say that. They're unilaterally better. Like Darkest Hour is never gonna be better than Sunrise.
Yeah,
in any universe or any timeline.
I feel like there's often two very competing schools of thought, which are the people that just love the people that love movies but think that movies keep getting better every year, and they're like, why even bother watching old movies when we keep learning more about movies and how to make movies better, and so movies just keep getting better. And then there's the people who are like, but these old movies, they're old and they're great. And I don't think a movie is great just because it's old and it was nominated for Best Picture.
Although you do think a movie is automatically interesting because it's old. So that's a bad example.
I'm interested in basically every movie ever made in one way or another. But, well, I love to watch old movies, but I also... I feel like there's a school of thought that where you have to put these movies in perspective. You have to watch them in the right frame of mind. Like, right. Oh, it was a different time. Technology was different. They're not going to be as, technologically advanced as the movies of 2017, obviously. And storytelling conventions were different and acting was different. And I do think you have to take those things into account to a certain extent, but also... at the end of the day, I think I'm watching movies to be entertained, and whatever is going to be the most entertaining is going to win out, I think. So I feel like I watch these old movies through that lens, sort of, where I watch them knowing that they're going to be imperfect, but I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going with this.
That's okay. I understand what you're saying. I feel like this also, because I'm glad that we did this too, and I enjoyed several of these movies. It also helped me realize my limitations in movie watching, and I want to be better about it, but I don't know how to change the fact that I respond to, colors and dialogue. So,
I feel like
when people talk, I don't fall asleep as much.
Not
as much.
Yes. Not to psychoanalyze a little bit too much, but I feel like, we bring different things to this podcast. I'm always here with the facts and the historical context, like anybody cares. And you're like, yeah, good movie. You're like, nah, I didn't like it. It was too old. I
never said anything was too old.
I know. And I'm not even trying to make fun of it. We have different perspectives when it comes to watching movies.
Right.
Like I'm also fascinated by history.
I'm also in it for the entertainment, but we find different things entertaining.
Yeah, and I think I maybe do lean a bit more towards like trying to get in the right frame of mind to watch a movie from the old times. But I think
I want to do that. That's what I'm saying.
But I think our sensibilities mixed together, it kind of makes this thing where I if this podcast could do anything, I wish it could encourage people to watch movies that are this fucking old, you know. But also, I think that we talk about them just like they're movies from now.
Yeah.
We try to. I feel like too often when people talk about The Jazz Singer, they're talking about, it was very important that, that all these things happen. And we talk about it, we're like, this movie kind of sucks.
Yeah, right.
This movie is boring. So, I guess to get back to the original thing, I think that two or three of these movies, I feel like Sunrise and The Crowd, and to a lesser extent Seventh Heaven, although I know you would put those in different order, I feel like those could go up against any movie made today.
I mean, even though it's like I said, I certainly would recommend them to people who are just interested in film.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Even though I like Seventh Heaven the best, I don't know that I I would just recommend it across the board to people who just like movies. I feel like you have to like particular types of movies, and then I would be like, oh hey, I watched this old movie and I liked it a lot. You should watch it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I feel like if we'd started with a different, like if we had watched the movies of 2018 first, and then we're comparing them with 27, I'd be like, 27 kind of wins. Movies are bad now.
Yep. Movies were a mistake.
Yeah. But 2017, oh my God.
Yeah.
Some Stone Cold classics in there. I think out of these 2 years, I think Sunrise is just my number one across the board.
That's fair.
But close second is Call Me By Your Name, you know.
I feel like the two of them have a very not like a similar feel.
Yeah, they're definitely not about the same aspects of love and romance and stuff, but they have a similar like emotional like connection, you know.
Yeah.
You're really sort of put into the emotional mindset of the main characters.
Yeah.
At different times. And then, sometimes a guy just, gets a shave and, hang out and throw balls at a pig.
Yep. Exactly. And sometimes you just dance in a club, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, is there anything else to say about these movies? The first Academy Awards or the 90th Academy Awards together?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like every time you ask me something like that, I feel like we should just cut it out because it's always just going to be like a long silence while I try to collect my thoughts.
Well,
and
I'll definitely cut out
anything.
the silence.
Yeah. Movies are great and people should watch them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, then I'm sure all of you at home or in your cars or on your way to work, I could just go on listing all the different scenarios in which people listen to podcasts.
Listen to a podcast.
Yeah, but I won't do that. You all might be wondering what's next, because we probably should have announced it a while ago. I don't know.
we fully intended to. We're going to be better about announcing them ahead of time.
Yeah, so
everybody can watch along.
Yeah. So I think today, why don't we announce the next two miniseries?
Let's do it.
So next we did the 90th Academy Awards. We just did the first Academy Awards. Well, where else do you go? How about right smack dab in the middle? We're doing the 45th Academy Awards.
Hell yes.
Yes. And I should have had this in front of me, the movies that are nominated that year. The 45th Academy Awards, 1972. The movies are Cabaret, Deliverance, The Emigrants, Sounder, and the winner, The Godfather. That's right, we're doing The Godfather right now. We're getting it out of the way. We're doing
it's true.
The all-time greatest movie according to
according to people who aren't us.
Yeah, who aren't us.
Spoilers for this episode.
It's good.
That hasn't come yet.
It's a good movie.
It's good. It's fine.
It's a very good movie. I just don't think it's the best movie.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Well, we also haven't watched it in a while.
We haven't watched it in a while. That's true. We're going to watch it again.
This movie fucking rolls. Who knows? That's what it's all about.
That's true.
So yeah, those movies, Cabaret, Deliverance, The Emigrant, Sounder, The Godfather, those movies are all available to rent on Amazon Prime at the very least. I think most of them are available on every other platform that is available. I think Sounder is only available to rent on Amazon.
Okay. Last time I had checked, Cabaret was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is.
I don't think that it is. I think Deliverance is on Netflix right now, though. Last time I checked, I thought that was the only one that was on Netflix, but I don't know.
This was a while ago that I looked, though.
But you might be wondering what we're doing after 1972. After that, there's really going to be, I think, no rhyme or reason to...
Well, we have a very specific formula.
That's true. We want to try to, spread the wealth, spread the love, get like one movie from each decade going equally, and represent everything equally in our own weird way as we jump around. And so next up, we're going... forward in time a little bit to the 1990s, and we did I picked this year just because it seems like an awesome year. 1994.
Yep.
That is Four Weddings and a Funeral, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show, The Shawshank Redemption, and the winner, Forrest Gump, which I've never seen. I've seen all the other movies.
This is the only year where I saw all of the movies when they came out on video.
Wow, I was way too young to do that.
Or I guess it's probably not the only one, but it was certainly the first one.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. I would say I've seen 4 of these movies, and 2 of them are really good, and 2 of them rule.
Yeah.
You'll find out which ones those are when we get there. I feel like the way you said I feel like you might have been thinking of 2 different movies that rule, and 2 different movies that are pretty good. I don't know.
But we'll find out.
Yeah. But I guess that is.
I smirked because I was going to say, and then there's Forrest Gump.
Yeah, which I haven't seen it, so I can't say. We'll find out. Maybe I'll really like Forrest Gump. I don't think I'm going to, though.
I haven't seen it in 25 years or whatever. So
we'll find out.
Yep.
That's not going to be for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're not going to watch Forrest Gump for like 12 weeks or something like that.
That's so long.
It is.
So far away.
I know, but like we can't just watch one. We gotta get ahead of ourselves here a little bit. We'll figure it out. Don't listen to this.
Stop listening to this part.
Yeah. But that's it. And all of those movies are just rent them anywhere. I don't know. I can't imagine it's very hard to watch. If it helps anybody,
we can try to like get information about this, put it on Twitter.
But, I feel like.
But also,
Pulp
you're all
Fiction
just as good
Prime,
at Googling as we are, to be honest. Like so.
Yeah. But I guess that is it for this episode. That's it for Wings. That's it for the 1927-28 Academy Awards. I got through this entire episode without making a reference to the American television sitcom Wings, which I enjoy a lot more than the movie Wings.
I mean, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
We didn't mention until we were conversing about it when we posted the episode that in the Seventh Heaven episode, we made 0 references to the American television program Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
Partly because I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely not my thing at all.
Nope.
It's all like Jesus-y, right?
At least somewhat.
Isn't he like a
He's
pastor?
like a pastor, and he has 7 kids.
The guy who in real life molested teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah,
wonderful. What a note to leave this episode on.
Cut that out.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please, please, please rate us on iTunes. Leave a review, something, anything. It people somehow that helps. I don't know how, but if you have enough ratings, they'll iTunes will promote you a little bit. They'll say ooh, popular this week, and we'll get down there, all the way down at the bottom, in a very small corner. Or maybe if we get some ratings, we'll appear higher in searches for Oscar podcasts above some other ones which shall not be named, that have very similar titles and prefaces to this one.
And may or may not still exist.
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly less regularly than this one.
Okay.
We're the most regular Oscar Best Picture podcast.
So far.
We'll see. Please leave us a review or rate us, or preferably both. Follow us on Twitter at nomineespod. You can find the show directly at nomineeswere.podbean.com. Email us at nomineespod at gmail.com. I would love to read something on air rather than just rambling at the end of an episode, we're on Instagram at nomineespod.
I promise if anybody follows it, I will actually post something.
Yeah.
I've been skipping these 20s ones. I don't know what to post about the 20s ones.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess
I should have posted something about Sunrise because it looks great.
Yeah, I think this week I am going to maybe do a little nested Twitter thread. I feel like I'm always planning to do show notes, basically, links to things I reference in episodes, and maybe I'll just do a big long one for all of the 20s things that I forgot to do. Something like that. I'll have to remember. But that's it, except for our a big announcement.
Right.
Yeah, drum roll, please, except don't do it. It sounds really awful on mic. We have a Patreon.
Yep.
You might be saying to yourself, Mike, Jenny, nobody listens to this show.
Exactly. You
have almost no regular listeners.
You would be pretty close to correct.
Yeah. But you might have also heard that Patreon was changing their rules, and if you wanted the old pricing plan, you needed to sign up by a certain date. So we did it.
So we did it.
Now we have a Patreon. If you enjoy this show so much that you want to spend $5 a month supporting us, we would be eternally grateful. But you don't just get a nice warm feeling inside for supporting us. You also get, we are planning bonus episodes, many of which we have already recorded.
Yep.
You know,
a couple of which.
Yeah, a couple of which. We have been watching every movie nominated for Best Picture. I think that gives you an interesting view of movies that year, but it doesn't give you the complete view. The Academy can be sort of myopic sometimes, forget sort of some movies. So we wanted to watch a couple movies every year that weren't nominated for Best Picture, but were very acclaimed. Usually ones that were nominated for a lot of other Oscars, or ones that just got a lot of Oscar buzz, but never really took off.
Well, not that specifically. There's a different podcast.
I mean, that's yes. But, well, yeah, we didn't do an episode on that. I thought...
We haven't done one yet, at least. But we were talking about it. Yeah. We might do it.
And then some months, sometimes... another movie that I already love came out that year, and I want to talk about it, and so we're going to do that. So every month, for $5 a month, you get... we haven't figured out how many episodes. It depends how many movies we watch, but I would say you get at least 90 minutes of bonus content a month. Whether that's 2 episodes or 4 episodes, it depends. It'll be different every week.
And as threatened / promised, we did way back when have a request for the 4-hour drunk version of Call Me by Your Name.
Yes.
And if you're serious about that, we would absolutely put that on the Patreon, so that you could listen to it, or don't, as you will. Please don't.
Yes.
There's a reason we didn't release it.
Yeah, I still have to edit it down to something that's listenable. I can't release the 4-hour raw audio because we will get put in jail.
I don't think that's true, but that's a nice bit.
Yeah. And there's also, I've been saving some of the choicest tangents that I can't keep in an episode in a big old file, and maybe I'll release some of those someday in some other form. Either way, you're gonna get some bonus audio content is the long and short of it.
Yep.
That's gonna be $5 a month. The first bonus episode has not been posted yet.
No, because we literally just did this Patreon because we had to.
Yeah, we just did this. So if you subscribe for $5 a month, stuff might not happen for the first week or two, but rest assured, this will be a thing going on.
And I'm pretty sure we could set it up so you wouldn't get charged until we start actually posting things anyway.
Something like that. Well,
we'll look into it.
Yeah. So head on over to patreon.com/nomineespod for all of that bonus stuff. But yeah, please do that. Please give us all the money that you possibly can.
We're money monsters now.
Yes. This podcast takes up way more of my time than I thought it was going to originally. I thought we just would talk and then I wouldn't have to do anything to that and I would just be able to put it online. But I have to edit it. I have to... actually, that's basically it. I have to edit it, but it takes a really long time. This podcast is produced and edited solely by me, Mike Frollo. And I would like, it would be nice to get paid to do that because it kind of takes time away that I could be making money doing other things.
That's true.
But even if you don't give us money, I'm still happy that you're listening.
That's true. We really are.
Yeah.
We're not insincere about that.
No, we really appreciate it. We have a small but consistent following, I would say, I think, based on listener numbers. And I appreciate everybody that's downloaded an episode so far, that's listened to them. If there's anybody listening every single week, thank you so much. I don't know why, but thank you for doing it.
I feel like you do that every time. Every time you're like, "Oh, thank you for listening." I don't know why you're doing that. You know what? Be proud. Take it in. Feel good.
You're right. I do. I feel good.
Okay.
When I remember that people actually listen to this, I feel good. Then the rest of the week, I'm just
In a bunker.
Full of anxiety and self-doubt. And right. But then sometimes we watch movies. Yeah.
Yep, that part's good.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we announced the next miniseries. I think next week is going to be Cabaret. Yeah. So I think for now, I'll probably do them in like alphabetical order. Okay. That seems smart.
Yeah, that's fair.
The first miniseries was weird because we just watched them all out of order.
Well, also, I feel like when we did the first one, we also put off watching the ones that we had already seen until last. We watched all the ones we hadn't seen yet first. But, now with these other ones, pretty much none of them will be movies that we've literally just watched, like we had those, so we won't have that problem.
Yeah, so we'll just do them in alphabetical order. That seems nice. And, of course, the Best Picture winner comes last. So next week is Cabaret. And
get hype.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never seen it before.
Okay.
Great. Yep. Saw that other Fosse movie, All That Jazz. I have to imagine this movie is not all that jazz.
It's not. But nothing is.
No.
But
I can't wait to that. We're gonna get to talk about All That Jazz at some point. A couple years from now, or something.
Yeah, one day.
But yeah, that's it. If you have any ideas for something I should say at the end of an episode, please tell me, because it's a struggle every single time to end an episode.
Yep. Damn it. I thought I was going to come up with something clever that time.
I know. Later Gators. I have no idea. No, that was
What
awful.
if we just say laters?
Laters?
No. Yeah. As soon as it was out of my mouth, I was like, no.
We just say later. I mean, it comes from a movie.
Later.
It comes from a movie we did, and let's see it. It's clean, simple. Drop the z. It's cleaner.
Exactly. Yep.
Later.